Hey guys, tonight I want to show you a little thing that I came up with. Trying to clean up the shop a little bit more. Not really Mustang related, not even really welder related as far as operations, but just trying to tidy up around the shop. I've got these tubes that the welding shop gave me. These get packed in between the other ones that are like these that have caps as space savers, or space takers I guess. But they never have the caps available because they reuse these tubes in the shop. So they gave me these. It's handy to at least keep them kind of together, but they're not sealed off and they're just kind of leaning against the wall of the shop. So I've got these pieces of PVC or PEX tubing, 1.5 inches, and all I did was cut them down to the lengths that I need for my different welding filler rods. Here we have our steel in 3/32, then I've got them in 1/16, and then the stainless and aluminum rods are shorter, so they are there. I'll have 3 more mounted up there. However, in the video I go over this ape tape. I was really excited to be able to use it on this because it's just simple and easy, but it doesn't quite, well, it leaves a little bit to be desired on this. So gonna have to come up with something different there. Then I'll mount all 3. I'll try and find some rigid caps. I thought this would work better than it does, but you know, it's all trial and error, and we're having fun in the shop. It's a long weekend, Sunday night, just kind of working away out here and trying to get things organized. So enjoy the video, and if you guys have any good ideas for mounting those, I think there might be probably a rigid plastic or PVC clamp on there, but if you have something else, let me know down, comment below. I'd be interested to see what else you guys come up with. Enjoy. So I got 2 full lengths of PVC pipe. It is 1.5 inches. This is labeled as IPEX Canada. It'd be similar to what you'd be using for natural gas furnace on your fresh air inlet and your exhaust. It's rigid but has a bit of flex to it. Semi-rigid, if you will. I don't know what they classify that as, but I'm going to use this. It'll do the trick. I've got caps here, and I also have some joiners. The one end of this is flared up. That will allow me to be able to connect my cap, as I'm going to want to do a tube that's about 2/3 of the length, and then have a cap that is about that long. So you do have the filler rod sticking out. So no sense overcomplicating it. We got steel filler rod, and this is aluminum. The stainless is also the same length as this. So I want to try and get 3 tubes per length of tubing here. So just kind of took this, set it up here. I'm going to lose approximately 2 inches on the flared end. It is 3.5 inches of flare up here. Going to lose about 2 inches of when I put that top cap in, and then I can basically take that extra bit and take into that account on my length. So take these, kind of hold it up here, figure about what I need, have a little bit of extra, mark it down, and then I can actually cut this wherever I want depending on how much I want my cap to be for the length. And then these are stainless and aluminum lengths, so basically just take from here down, and we can confirm that yes, it will fit 2 full lengths in there. Again, for each one of these, I am going to gain 1 inch in the center because it doesn't go all the way down in. And then these caps, they go down far enough, but I still gain about 1/2 inch at the top of these. So I did notice on the side of this too, it says potable. So I guess you could use it as water feed if you actually need something large enough, because all I've ever used is 1/2 inch. But if you need to do a good run, this would be the same stuff. So we'll trim it up on the bandsaw here. I've got my trusty old Portaband with my homemade base here clamped down to the workbench. And it's actually convenient that this bench came with a light switch that is actually hooked up to a power bar. So any tools that I want to switch on and off, have the option right here. So this makes really easy work of things like this. And then all you have to do, clean up your edges. I've got my deburring tool for tubing or piping. Works perfect on plastic too, or PVC if you will. And then I'm going to take some 180 and just kind of catch that outer edge, clean it all up. So that makes quick, easy work of that. We'll get the rest of these cleaned up and then get on to cutting these down, figuring out what length I want to have for the shorter filler rod. Perfect. So got these all cleaned up now. This is actually going to be the length for our steel filler rod. Just cap it on both ends. I have PVC duct solvent, PVC duct and ENT, whatever that was, solvent, cement. So little dauber in the can, a little once around, let it sit for a couple seconds and twist the cap on and it locks it on solid. You don't have to do this if you don't want. Those caps do pressure fit, but I figure if you're going to go to the point of trying to make these to keep your filler rods out of the moisture, you might as well actually seal them off and then they'll be fully out of the moisture, and then you're only going to have one joint that has the potential instead of 3 joints for moisture. But these are a pretty good fit. Ultimately the choice is yours how far you want to go. If you don't have any of this kicking around, well, maybe you wait until you do a project at the house that you buy that and then you finish sealing those off. So to keep it nice, simple, and consistent, I'm going to take this piece, which is the top of my steel filler rod tube, and I just kind of set this down here, get an approximate idea of the length. Set this along here. That's going to be a good amount of stick out that you can tell what's in there. I can always label the caps as well. Use a permanent marker or get some labels made up. That's easy enough. But this will allow a good amount of protrusion that when you pop that cap out, you're going to have a good amount of filler rod. You're not going to be trying to pull at the last inch, inch and a half of it. So we'll just be consistent and cut them all at that. Alright, so we got these all cleaned up now. And basically just going to take a little bit of this cement, do a little dab around the bottom of the tube there, get your cap, put on, twist, it stops, and then you don't have to, but I'm just wiping up a little bit of the residual. Done. Take your next one, this will be the top half of that one, same kind of thing, a little bit around there. Take your cap and install. It's pretty simple stuff, guys. Don't need to overcomplicate it. These are just to hold filler rods. So they do make tubes. You can go out and buy them, Amazon, whatever else. I looked at them. I couldn't justify spending the money on them for how much this stuff costs. You can go to your local hardware store, grab a thing of cement, and it's pretty quick. Like, go out to the garage, pour yourself a whiskey, turn the music on, spend a half an hour max if you need to, if you have to measure up the stuff. It's pretty standard sizes. Make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing though, not getting distracted by the camera and almost gluing the wrong one there. That would not have worked well. Joiner on there. Give it a quick wipe. We're all done. So now it is on to making some mounting setups for the side of the welding cart. What I'm going to try and use is this 8 tape, and there are straps that go around different tubes for mounting them to joists and studs and everything else. This stuff is It's actually really handy because it's cut to fit. It's like a nylon type webbing. You'll want to heat up the ends because they fray, but you can basically put it around whatever you want and then cut it off and then just send a screw right through it. It is made by Sioux Chief. It's called Ape Tape. I'm not sure where it is made, as it doesn't actually have country of origin. Canada, US, I'm assuming. And I've used it for a bunch of things now. It's really good for PEX and copper pipe, whatever you want to do. It's really handy. So we'll try and figure out how I can get that mounted to the side of the cart that is over here. Alright, so continuing with the theme of keeping things simple. I found some scrap aluminum that I've had here, angle iron, and a piece of flat bar. Nice and easy to drill through. And I was going to use the drill press, but then realized that I haven't actually fully assembled the drill press. I'm actually missing the handles on the side still. I took them off. They're a bit stripped. Forgot that I hadn't finished that part. So, nice and simple to drill through. Luckily, because it's nice and soft, sunk a couple holes through here and used a couple existing holes that were on the welding cart here and bolted this on nice and sturdy. And then we actually have something to send some screws through to actually hold that nylon strapping for our tubes here. So probably just use some self-tappers here for now. It doesn't need to be anything over the top. It's very lightweight anyways. So as long as we have enough material or enough screw length to get through the material here, then we'll be fine. And then this one's actually super rigid. This one's just kind of more of a secondary support. So we'll try and get that set up there, and should have enough clearance along here to run all 6 tubes. Evenly space them out. We'll be good to go. Alright, so I've got some holes drilled here in my crossbars, and then I've got some of my Ape Tape going around here, the self-tapper going through, got the bottom one secured, and we'll just bring this top up. One thing to be mindful of with this Ape Tape, because it is flexible, if you just let it go while tightening the screw, it's going to all bind up and wrap around your bit essentially. So kind of got to hold on to the tail as you're tightening. And then sometimes it'll still kind of bind up, so you back it off a little bit and then snug it down that last bit. Secure. It's not super rigid just because this is a flexible tape. There may be a better way of attaching this. This is just what I had kicking around. So we'll see. I might revise this a little bit. I'm sure they actually do make plastic clamps or ABS clamps for these to go around. Might be a nicer fit. It just depends on how much space it takes up in between. I'm going to run about an inch in between each one of these tubes. So it just depends on what those are. Might look into that, might continue on this way. But for now, we've got tubes going on. Pop your cap off, and you can have your electrodes, or sorry, your filler rods. There you go, nice and easy to grab. Obviously won't need this elastic afterwards because they'll all be by size. And then when you're done, there you go. And they're nice out of the weather, cleaned up. They're not sitting on the wall. Right now I've got the square plastic tubes that they get shipped in. They actually use them to take up space in the packages. The ones that they get shipped in have a cap, otherwise I could use them, but the welding shop keeps those ones. So they're about this height, but just the bottom. They're leaning against the side of the garage wall. You move them around, it's just not as easy. It's nice to have it with your welder. Pop it off. There you go. Nice and easy, because you're never really going to be that far away from your welder anyways. It just keeps things clean and organized. And, well, nice little evening project. Alright, so I mentioned earlier on in the video that I wasn't really happy with that 8 tape that I was using to hold those tubes on. And I couldn't even finish this video up without getting that fixed up first. I know I had asked earlier for some thoughts or opinions. Again, if you guys have something better than what I've done, throw it up. I did find some tube clamps that were 2.5-inch plastic, but then you have to have a screw on either side of the tube. Takes up more space in there. Didn't think that'd really work out too well. So I ended up getting rubber P-clamps. So, well, sorry, stainless P-clamps, but they have a rubber coating on them here. Rubber boot, if you will. I had to go through a couple sets, actually, because this stuff is listed as 1.5 inch, 2 inch. Where is it? 1.5 inch. I got 1.5 inch P-clamps. And, well, this is 1.5 inch ID, not OD, so that did not work. My tubes are rolling away across the floor there. Don't mind the funky noise there. And my heater's squealing in the background, because it's kind of cool out here. So, I ended up getting some 2-inch P-clamps, trimming about 1/4 inch off them, and re-drilling the end of them. It's a lot tidier, where they're not flopping all back and forth. I wish the ape tape would have worked, but this is way better. My OCD was kicking in a little bit, and now we're all set up. So as you can see, we got our shorter rods in there, our longer steel rods in there. This keeps them all tidied. You're not having to go and try and find them somewhere around the shop. They're not off on a wall. They're going to be near where you are working. So much more convenient. And as I said earlier, it kind of knocks down on some of the moisture. It's not 100%, but it's way better than just having exposed to atmosphere. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. If you guys have any other suggestions, or if you've done anything like this on your welding cart, throw up a picture below, or throw it up on my Instagram at Notorious Autosports. I'd really be interested to see kind of different ideas on this. I know a couple of guys that have done something similar to this, but I haven't seen a whole lot, to be honest. So if you guys have done something, definitely tag me in that. Let me see. I'm curious on that. I hope you guys like this. I hope it helps you out, gives you some ideas as well for your own welding carts or welding rigs or anything like that, if you are doing something. So hope that helped. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you next time.